Good morning, Andrew.
Morning, Vincent.
All right. Got a new acronym.
Oh, yeah? What's your new acronym?
T.
Yeah?
G.
Yeah?
I. M.
All right. Thank God it's Monday.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks goodness.
Nailed
It's
it.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are so energetic.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because
last
week.
exciting week.
Yep.
Fireworks in politics. I mean, it was
yeah.
a big week for politics.
Okay.
Yeah. So two big themes that I want to look at today. One is rule of law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the other one's a policy address.
Uh-huh.
Because everything else comes under those two things.
Rule of law.
All right. So the week kicked off on
Because
Monday. Rule of law.
the legal year commenced last Monday.
Yes, it did.
And then you have the Secretary for Justice, Chief
Yep.
of Justice, and
Yep.
It's already the outgoing, right?
Yeah, and the outgoing chair of the Bar Association.
Yeah, it's the outgoing. So he has already gone.
He's done.
By this week.
Yeah. The new woman's in place.
Yep.
You know, the king is dead. Long live the queen. And
No.
so to speak.
Yeah, Sewing Tai has not. It's not.
No. So you know, the media kind of sees more on the contrasting views of Geoffrey Ma, right, and Rimsky-Yun, Secretary of Justice. And, you know, where Rimsky-Yun was saying, oh, you know, Occupy Central was terrible, rule of law was being attacked. And, of course, you know, you remember in the lead up to Occupy Central last year, and then while it was happening, you had all these people that were like, there's going to be blood in the streets and buildings on fire. And you remember that crazy video that came out about how it was just going to be the apocalypse? You know, this was like the end of the world, like Ragnarok, where the snake eats its tail and we all die. But it didn't turn out that bad. Geoffrey Ma was like, no, judges are doing their job. They are adhering to the rule of law. We are not being influenced by politics on either side. You know, he was careful to say it, but we're getting it right. He's like, don't worry, rule of law still works here. So you had these two contrasting views. But I think the one that everybody should go and read, I said it on our Facebook, I said it on Harbour Times Twitter, said it on our Harbour Times Weekly newsletter. Go and read the full speech from the outgoing chair of the Bar Association at the HKBA website, because it is that good. I mean, it you know, because I think about this.
I have read that.
I
have read both the Chinese translation and the English version.
Okay.
And I think it's quite a model answer.
Yeah.
If the LLB exam has a question, discuss rule of law in the context of Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
You can just basically put down.
Yeah, I'll give him an A+.
Because,
A++.
Because I think what he has done is that he put both sides of the arguments in it. He did not only criticize the government, but he also criticized the leaders of the Occupy movement as well. So I think that's a really good point of that.
I think
because he really thinks through from both angles. Yeah. And this is what legal training is about. Yeah. I still remember when I studied for my LLB exam. Yeah. I find it very frustrating because when I was young, I'm kind of like good in mathematics. Right. And it's always about deduction and induction. And you got a final answer.
Yeah, clear cut, right or wrong.
This is right.
Yeah.
This is wrong. Yeah. You got this answer. You got this number. This is right. Yeah. You got this proof. This is right. Yeah. But in LLB exam, there's always more angles. Yeah.
You're graded on the strength of your arguments.
Yes. So you have to think from the angle of the plaintiff. Yeah. But you have to also think from others.
The angle of the defendant.
The defendant, and also others. Sometimes. Yeah. If it is a case about recklessness, then you have to think about the point of view of bystanders, right, and all that. So,
sure. Very interesting. I completely agree that he brought in kind of both sides of the argument. He said that it doesn't mean this side getting what they want or that side, but the other thing he did that really elevated the whole rule was he talked about the ecology of rule of law, which is my term, not his, but the ecology that surrounds rule of law, meaning the societal commitment to it, right? The checks and balances that go along at different levels of society, not just government, not just the judicial system, but all across society. And I think he really brought an extra dimension of complexity to it, but explained it in a very clear and succinct manner that you can sit down and read this speech and get it. I mean, really, I think best I've seen out of anybody in Hong Kong on any topic for ages and ages and ages. So everybody, go check it out. It's worth the full read.
Well, I think Rimsky, as a representative of the current administration, is worried that the other side, what I say the other side is some of the leaders of the Occupy movement, as well as some of the legislators, did say something like civil law and criminal law are somehow different. Well, of course, it's somehow different.
Well, they are different. That's why we have two things.
But you can't really say that you can respect criminal law more than civil law. I think that's the problematic part. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because some of the I would say political celebrities would say that the more damaging part is that you commit a crime under criminal law.
Right.
Which is not right in terms of obeying the law.
Yeah.
The very basic level, which is not right. But I think the rule of law is always about the ecology.
Yeah.
Yeah. About I think somehow related to sovereignty.
Yeah.
And also different levels of law and all that. I think the rule of law is a much more complicated.
Maybe we might want to consider doing a special show just on this issue of rule of law, and even just on that speech. I mean, would be fantastic.
Yeah, because especially in the common law system.
Yeah.
Especially in the common law system is a very different discussion on the rule of law.
Yeah.
Comparing to what we call the continental law system. So it's a big topic.
These are big topics. But then something happened a couple of days later that also kind of plays into rule of law, and that was Ng Long Sing making this comment that the MSS, the Ministries for State Security, basically China's spy network, right? You know, the British have like MI5, MI6, and the Americans have the FBI, CIA, and the NSA, and like 20 other weird spy agencies. You know, Canada, we just got CSIS because, you know, we're not so into that. We only got one agency. Yeah, I know everyone says that. Really? Yeah.
Well, actually, they have a new terms for them, right? They're agents.
The agents. So Ng Long Sing, legislator, comes out and says, "Oh yeah, of course, the Ministry for the MSS, the Chinese MSS, sure they should be allowed to enforce law in Hong Kong." And again, it comes back to rule of law because people, you know, looking at one country, two systems, are like, "Hello, where'd you come up with that?" Number one. Number two. Those guys don't necessarily understand rule of law as most people in Hong Kong, I think, would look at it. But then the third part of it is, well, they're spies. Spies, you know, typically have little respect from that whatever country they're from. You know, if the Chinese spies are operating here, who isn't? FBI, you know, the Russian guys, the what I don't know what the French spies are. You know, maybe the Canadian spies. I doubt it, but you know, I'm sure they got like this budget. But you know, they're spies. That's kind of, you know, that's what they do. They jump out of planes, they seduce women, they break the law. You know, they're kind of operate outside the law. Yeah, I know.
Actually, agents are no longer like this.
Yeah,
they will definitely.
Yeah, they sit in front of computers. Yeah.
Because if you're too good looking, you can't be an agent.
You can't be. You're too obvious.
You attract too much attention.
I know people sometimes ask me, "Are you a spy?" I'm like, "Come on, with this face, how could I be?" But seriously, with the James Toe thing, I think in particular, with James Toe getting followed around by like these shady characters, the police eventually caught them and were like, "Oh, working for the Chinese government, really?" So rule of law is, you know, a huge issue in Hong Kong. But I'm glad, as I said, that the outgoing chairman of the Hong Kong Bar Association shed some light because rule of law also has my nomination for most abused term of 2014.
What I want to say is that I know some people may not agree.
Yeah.
But the beauty of that speech is that he presented both sides of the argument, which is a very good thinking piece.
Yeah.
I think it's
both sides
very
and
good
then elevated.
thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And PA, policy address.
Policy address. Okay, quick punch on policy address.
No, don't worry.
We talked about it. Yeah. We talked about it. We talked about
last week.
Yeah, how it was like 90% was rehashed, and then they slipped in little bits and pieces. Rule
of law is also at the beginning of the policy.
Yeah. He mentioned it like 5 or 6 times, and then had like this one. Yeah, anyways, very big theme in there as well. Just as an update on that, like if people want to get our full policy address, they should go watch our policy address specials from Thursday and Friday last week. But I just want to note that since then, things are happening at lightning speed for the new things that they did mention. You know, I have to admit, they are moving fast. They are already allocating money for the electronic waste recycling program. That's already hitting the books, and plans are being rolled out. Clearly, they had that one ready to go.
Well, that one, I have to say, it has been long overdue.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the final baby of Edward Yao. When he was still the Secretary for Environment.
Right.
So it has been long overdue for almost 3 years.
Long overdue. I just wish I knew what to do with my batteries. And I got a big bag of batteries at home because I don't know where to get rid of them safely. Agricultural policy, which was in the works a couple of weeks before. They're rolling that out very quickly, money being allocated. Immigration. Wow. I mean, this whole thing about them cutting off the rich investor immigrant program at midnight, and I got friends of mine who were getting phone calls from all over China.
Oh.
And they were like, "Yeah, hey, what are you doing?" Like literally, while the policy address was still on, they're like, "Hey, I'm in a taxi on my way to the airport. I already told my travel agent to make sure I have a ticket when I get there. I'm coming down to hand in the forms now to beat the deadline." People were literally flying in from all over China to get their paperwork in to beat that deadline. I mean, like, wham! Policy address, action. I mean, wow. Of course, chief executive gave himself a raise, $20,000 a month. Good for him, I guess. Doesn't do me much good as a taxpayer.
District councillors.
And district councillors. We talked about that last week. Got a raise and more expenses. So they're moving fast on these provisions. So I wanted to note that. Also, the whole undergrad thing, about him singling out this magazine. We talked about that at length. Harbour Times, we're going to have an event tonight with one of the editors and authors. Oh. A guy named Jack Lee Kai Tick is going to come in and explain it for the English non-Chinese reading, or even if you're Chinese reading but you don't got time, you can't find the book, because you can't, it's sold out everywhere and they're reprinting, or if you just don't have time to read it, you can come and see us tonight at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, 6:30.
On that
get
front,
the lowdown.
On that front,
I don't know what the hell's in there, so
on that front I have 2 more points to add.
Sure.
Well, first, a lot of people said the chief executive should not put this book and the student magazine in the policy address. Is inappropriate in the view of disproportionate. Yeah. Right? But with the benefit of hindsight, I think if it is an intentional move, then I think it's quite an intelligent move, because it has achieved maximum spin.
Well, you mentioned this last week. You had this idea that the news cycle, a huge amount of the news cycle was taken up talking about that instead of the other policy.
Instead of talking about Benny Tai, he picked a student magazine to fight. If he put down Benny Tai's name or his article in it, it won't have such a big effect. Now that he is putting a student magazine in it, then you have achieved maximum mileage in terms of PR spinning.
I think so, but
that's point number 1.
Okay.
The point number 2 is point number 2 is while you have mentioned that a lot of the new stuff and the goodies are in the environment session.
We've talked about that.
Actually, the policy address has fundamentally changed the view of policy planning. This one,
right? In
the last 2 one, in previous year he spent a lot of effort in discussing land supplies and all that. And in his first policy address, CY Leung has mainly talked about poverty issues.
Right.
And he specifically wants to say that this is a firefighting policy address. But this time, I think he intentionally wants to talk about more long-term stuff.
Right.
How to engage different stakeholders, including the youth on long-term planning.
Housing and land.
Smart cities is actually a very long-term plan.
Right.
It's about current investment versus future energy savings. I was thinking, I have to say, I'm speculating. Why did he want people to know that he is thinking really long-term?
Wow, that's going.
Wow. He has only 2 years and a few months. Actually, 2 years, because by this time of the year, in 2 years' time, it's all about the chief executive election.
Sure.
So why did he want people to know that he is thinking long term?
Plan.
Is he indirectly saying that he is extremely likely
to run again?
Yes. So that's my second point.
Which, is interesting, because you could almost see some of the pandems, because this comes back to the pandems, and are they going to be able to get those extra 5 votes to get a reform package through constitutional election? Could pandems be convinced that enough of them, like 4 or 5, that they need to defect to go over to say, you know what, we're going to hold our noses and we're going to go for this, and so we get one man, one vote, because even though the candidates will both be selected by Beijing, and one of them will almost guaranteed be CY Leung, at least we'll have a chance to get rid of him. And I think that may be a ploy. I think you're right, but if CY looks at that, he's like, maybe if I give those guys the idea that they can get rid of me, they might actually flip over and vote for the reform package.
Okay. Now
this is getting really Machiavellian.
Now you are saying this.
We're then deep into Machiavelli territory.
Then we are in the realm of pure speculation now.
Yes.
Okay. One more speculation.
Okay.
If you're right.
Yeah.
If Andrew were right.
Yeah.
Then another tactics to get the constitutional reform package to go through in a few months' time is that people will start to talk about what we have just discussed.
Yeah.
That CY is going to very likely to run for the next term.
And ramp up the rhetoric.
And ramp up the whole thing.
Yeah.
And if there's a deal behind the scene, then the Pan-Democrats can actually say what they have achieved is to stop him running.
To stop him running.
To stop him running. To stop him running again. So then they can put a halo on the head that they have stopped CY for another 5 years.
Yeah.
So they have to vote the constitutional reform package to go through. So building on what you have just said.
If the deal is if CY doesn't run, we'll vote for your constitutional reform package.
Yes. And they can make this an explicit statement to the public. So that they can achieve something.
Yeah.
When we are in the realm of pure speculation. Or in solution journalism term, the scenario planning analysis.
Analysis. That makes it sound much more proper.
Objective, because we are not doing spy things, right? We are purely using
planning.
We are purely using our heads to think through the scenario, not eavesdropping some national secrets, because we were just pure building on each other's projected scenario. But that will be interesting. That will be very interesting.
All right.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Okay.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Well, we weren't planning to go there today, but here we are. So we had rule of law, policy address, and the deal that could be done based on who will run in 2017 for chief executive.
All right.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for this one. You bet.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
You bet.
Cheers.
Cheers.